welcome to the Callaway Coaches Show. This is version 2024, and we are going to be looking at the boys and girls varsity teams for the upcoming season. But before we get into that, we've got a special guest, Mark Hubbard from Go Realty, who we've mentioned quite a bit over the last 2 years and has been a supporter of Callaway for quite some time, is here with us. And so we're honored, and it's a privilege to have you with us, Mark. Tell us a little bit about your involvement, a little bit of your history, how you got into helping out with the things at Callaway.
Absolutely. Well, my easiest answer is my brother's a coach here. So, but I grew up in Hogansville as a Hogansville Green Wave, and then of course we consolidated to Callaway, and my brother became a baseball coach and football coach here. Got a lot of friends here, family members. I've known Jeff McGuffin for a long time, and he always hits me up, make sure to ask me if I want to, help out and be on board. And I'm always thankful for him. And I just like to give back to local schools, local sports, and I think sports is a very, very big part of life and growing up, and the things I learned from Little League to high school, from some of the legends like Sonny Cummins and Don Hendricks and Charles Stanfield, which is the baseball fields named after him. They taught me things not only about sports but about life, and it's things that I actually use as a business owner every day.
Yeah, and you never know what kind of impact you're having on players until a lot later. You may say something and you don't know if anybody hears you. You don't know if there any kind of response they get, because when we're adolescents, we always like come off as we know it all and everything. But then you understand that at some point in time something does get remembered, and I think we're both having similar experiences about remembering those that came before us and what they laid out for us. And so it's cool to hear that kind of background. And tell us a little bit about how you got involved in real estate. How far back does that go?
Well, it actually when I went to West Georgia in Carrollton, and then I ended up getting on with Bell South, which became AT&T. Something I really enjoyed, but I kind of knew that being a competitive person that come from sports, I kind of knew that at that job I was just going to do the same thing over and over every day. So I had about 16 years into AT&T, and I decided to try something different. Got my real estate license, and it was not too long after the market crashed. So a lot of people were getting out of it as I was getting in it, but I kind of rode the wave back up. And 3 years later, had my opened my own business with my three partners, and it's been a whirlwind ever since, and no regrets.
Well, that's cool. You answered one question. I was wondering when you were able to get into it, and what the market was like. And I know since 2007, 2008, because that's about what we're talking about probably, we've seen a lot of fluctuation.
Correct.
And it's been, starting around 2014, 15, you had that upward, trajectory until, and then COVID came, and then there was no slowdown.
No.
It was like, you would think there would have been,
I think when everybody was sent home for COVID, I think they went home and started looking for houses because that was probably the busiest time of my career.
Yeah. I heard that too, and yeah, I mean there's been a little bit of slowdown, but I think that overall, I mean there's new construction happening, and when that happens, that everybody's going to look to upgrade, and it's going to be a new market for their houses and things like that. So it's always an interesting market to watch, and how how it works, and of course, homeowners are always kind of keeping an eye too on what, what they need to do. Are they gonna be happy with where they're at, or are they looking for something different? So
Correct.
it's a interesting line. So, tell us, about maybe your, history with soccer. I mean, have you come to any of the games, or?
Well, it's funny that you asked that. Matter of fact, I wanted to be prepared to come up here tonight. And soccer is something, when I was in school, we didn't have it.
Right.
And I was actually shocked to see that soccer has been in the United States for over 100 years.
Yes.
But I would say probably in the last 20 years, it's been one of the most popular sports, in our country, other than maybe pickleball. Everybody's playing pickleball nowadays. But to see how this sport has grown, and Jeff, Coach McGuffin told me before that when he got involved, he said he didn't know that much about it, and it was something that he started coaching and fell in love with. And I think soccer, to me, it ranks up there with one of the best sports. I mean, it's hey, it is very competitive, and I know the few times that I've ever played, got to be in pretty good shape.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, I think one thing that is pretty universally known about the sport is that it lends itself to anybody can play.
Yes.
You don't have to have, $1 million, and it's not exclusive. And that's why it's so big around the world.
Yep.
Third world countries produces great players.
Yep.
The most advanced nations produce good players, and it's just unique to see like a small country that Belgium, for instance, it's not a huge country, but they produce some of the best players in the world.
Yep.
and can take on just about anyone. And then you look at other countries that maybe haven't developed the sport to the degree of some of the other ones, and like it's just they still have players, but it's low cost.
It is.
And you don't need a ton of equipment. You don't need obviously, if you're gonna have proper games, you're gonna have to have space and goals, but anywhere outside the US, and it's starting to pick up here, as you mentioned, but
Yep.
if you ever travel outside the US, South America, Central America, parts of Europe, and you're in an airplane or something like that, you see fields everywhere. Everywhere.
Now, I may be wrong, but is soccer isn't the most played sport in the world?
I would say by far.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a close second. When the World Cup is being played, the television audience for those things are in the billions sometimes.
Yes, the fans are
Yeah.
incredible.
So, when not 2/3, but when maybe 25% of the planet is watching the same game at the same time, it's got to be pretty important.
Yeah.
And so I know when France played Argentina that Sunday morning, in Qatar, and people are glued to it. It's just it speaks for the sport itself. But I think here in the U.S., it's definitely grown. Here in Georgia, it's grown.
Yes.
Here in Troup County, it's grown. And now you've got the opportunities that you see with the youth players that have been playing in their respective club teams, and then in high school getting developed by the coaches around here, getting opportunities of playing in college.
Yep.
Like 20 years ago, I'm not sure how many players in this area were getting those opportunities.
Yeah, and trust me, I have two kids, I have twins that are about to start college in the fall, and if soccer can get you a scholarship, can get you in a school, then that says a lot, because college is expensive, and to have that opportunity to keep playing, doing something you love, but then maybe getting it paid for.
Yeah,
It's pretty good.
Yeah, and a lot of those experiences that they a lot of times they don't set out to do that. It's just one of those things that's a byproduct, I guess. By the time they get to their last year, like they discover, like, I really like this sport and I really want to keep playing, but I'm about to graduate. Maybe I could play in college. you know, and so that's usually where this conversation starts.
Yep.
Really thank you for coming on tonight. Thank you for, you know, support of Callaway Athletics, especially, you know, with the soccer programs and the weekly show that we're doing here. I know we couldn't do it without you, and we certainly appreciate it.
And I want to thank you guys as coaches, because people do not realize the hours that you know y'all put in as coaches. Matter of fact, when I first met you a few minutes ago, you were on the phone and you were working, and like us real estate agents, we
Yep.
work all the time, and y'all have to work all the time, and people just think that you put a product on the field and that's the end of the store, but they don't see the work that goes into it. So I appreciate you guys for what you do.
Yeah, well, yeah, thank you. And again, we appreciate everything that you've done for us and the support you've given, and look forward to seeing you around, and hopefully we'll get you to one of the games here soon.
Pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay.
5 this year.
Okay.
So, recording? Are we good?
Now you can say welcome back.
All right. Hello and welcome back to the Callaway Coaches Show. This is opening night and we're getting ready for this 2024 season. Here with Coach Hunter Lee and Coach Petit. You're not Rick Petit.
No.
But anyway, as we look back into May or April, I guess, of 2023, and that season concluded, I know that most coaches, and I put myself in this category too, we start looking at what's next, and like who's going to be stepping up for us this next year. So going back to that time and having, okay, we've got 9 months basically to kind of prepare for this. What is one thing that, or maybe two, that you really wanted to get better at from the end of last season to the beginning of the season?
Well, the first answer was our defense. We did not emphasize defense enough. We didn't play good enough defense across the board, and it cost us. I mean, just flat out cost us in some games that really could have made a bigger difference for us. Not that the guys who we had back there were poor or did a bad job. I don't think we just did a good enough job of focusing on that, having everybody understand their roles, what was our game model, especially with our backs. And so Hunter and I talked a ton about over the summer how we've got to be better, we've got to be different. And so we're making a significant change. You know, we've played a back three the whole time I've been here. That's my preferred game model or game shape. But we're going to a back four this year because we've just got to simply play better in the back.
Okay.
That's number one.
So now fast forward to, let's say, December, and now you've like seen if anyone new's coming in, and you know what type of player might be coming up from the middle schools, and now you're getting ready for your preseason where you're dealing with the conditioning phase of things. What were your numbers like in December, getting ready for preseason? How, I guess, what were you looking forward to most with this particular group once you knew pretty much who was going to be on the team?
You know, with the guys that we had out there, and Hunter jump in any time, I felt like we had a good cohesive group. It was a good chemistry mix already. There weren't any majorly dominant personalities. They all tended to get along really well and work really well together. So that was exciting because I felt like we had a group that enjoyed being together, worked well together, cooperated. There wasn't any kind of, tension and that kind of stuff. Hunter, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, this year's group is a whole lot better as far as, being teammates with each other. Last year we had a really good number of talented players, but everybody was just by themselves, and that's what really hurt us a lot. Everybody, they get the ball, and they see opportunities for themselves. They did unselfish things, And this year, I think we just got that mentality is my teammates before
Right.
me. Like even today in practice, we were working on our press, and you got Grayson on the ball. And probably last year, he probably taken a shot that like he passed the ball to JJ passed the ball to Ricky, and we're like, all right, so are you going to start shooting now, or are we just going
Right.
to go for assists? So that's something we're probably going to have to hype on, but. Just see it. I'd rather have that problem than the hey, stop shooting and pass the ball.
Right, yeah. Well, it's always good, I guess, to have some good chemistry before you have to have it. Like, a lot of times, especially on the boys' side, I know that something big has to happen to galvanize a team, whether it's a fight or, or something along those lines, that something serious happens. It's always refreshing, to have a group of guys that like, okay, there's not any high egos here. Everybody's looking like they're willing to work together, and you're starting off with kind of a fresh material. Now you're going to have ups and downs, just like every year, but it's good, to look at this, with a blank canvas right now and say there's a lot of possibilities here, and you may not have anybody that is going to be like all state, but at the same time, you may have a better season,
Right.
And so I think all of us would take that. And
Oh, sure.
so, here at the beginning, you have any scrimmages, or did you have any scrimmages leading into the opening night?
No, I mean, our opening night is our scrimmage, and it's
Okay.
gonna be this Thursday here
Okay.
against Troop. And that's a big game. If it's a scrimmage game or not, it's, a crosstown rival. It's gonna be high energy. That should have a good crowd. So, we're jumping into the deep end from the get-go.
Okay.
But leading up to it, I mean, we've done a lot of work, you guys coming in, we're fortunate to have you come in and work with the girls, and Coach Barrett come in and work with the boys from a little preseason camp, and got us a good head start on what we're trying to focus on for the coming season. So that really helped us get an extra week in, and then we've had 2 really good weeks of practice so far, and we're getting to that point where it's time to play.
Hunter, what do you think about this opportunity against Troop? They went pretty far for their program. It was a historic type of season.
Yeah,
for them.
it was. They had a really good season last year. Starting off with us, they weren't at 100%. Nobody's at 100% the first game, but just being able to look at Troop and how they've come so far, and then beating LaGrange, that was the big highlight of the season. No matter what they done after
Right.
that, it was the highlight of the season. That Troop LaGrange game is always is a really good game, and the intensity in that game is always high. But just seeing them progress as a team, and then see how good they got, and then they graduated, I think 10 guys.
Yeah.
I was looking the other day, so they still have some talent on the field. They got a new coach this year, so we'll see how it's going to be. We really don't know what to think about it right now.
Okay. So as we get past this first exhibition game, scrimmage game, whatever you want to call it, that will get you ready, because it's these guys know each other. What do we see on the horizon? What does your first regular season game look like?
So we got Chattahoochee County next week is our first official regular season game, and then followed up by Creekside. So what we have is in our preseason, before our region schedule, we got a wide variety of schools. Everything from a GISA school over at Heritage School, which is still a really good program, to Creekside, which is 4, maybe even 5A school, to, we play Trinity Christian, we play Smith Station.
Okay.
So we got a wide variety of schools. So we're going to be, every day is going to be, every game is going to be a different challenge. Every day is going to set up differently for us. And obviously, hopefully, or the goal here is, going through the variety of types of teams, quality opponents, that kind of stuff, getting really ready for the region.
Yeah, and I guess when we start looking at new opponents on there, and they don't know you either, so I guess that's the quality of the unknown, when you can work with your own group and say, hey, we don't, you don't hear the names like Temple and yet, and
Right.
things like that on there. It's like, okay, these are going to be new experiences for everybody, new challenges for everybody, and you can really look at this pre-conference or pre-district or whatever it is part of the schedule and really work on some things, you know, and for you guys moving into a 4-back system now, I mean, I think the idea is not just, okay, we're gonna bunker in and try to, you know, stave off all these attacks. There's certain reasons for it. Yes, it's all predicated on the defense, but it also, you know, gives some opportunities, especially on the outside now, to do some things that you might not been able to do in a 3.
Right.
So talk to us a little bit about that and what you see might be able to happen, you know, once you get in possession of the ball out of the back.
Yeah. Well, I think our strength is going to be our group up front, whether it's our front 3 forwards or our central players. I think they're by far and away the strength of our team. And so, and we've been working really hard on how do we get the ball under control, out of the back to those players who are our difference makers and that kind of thing. So whether it's us, you know, working on our combination play to get it in out of the back, to find a winger like Ricky or like Grayson, or can we get through the middle and find JJ or find Jaden at those central roles and really work our way out of that. So I think we've done a good job of it. They're really understanding their roles. I think they're really working hard at it, Coach.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about that?
It's going to be very hard to find the defense. It's going to stop our front four.
Okay.
I'm not saying they're, you know, just unstoppable, but it's the chemistry between the guys. We got 2 seniors, 2 sophomores. 2 sophomores played together their entire lives. 2 seniors who played together at least the last 4 years. They know how everybody works. They, you know, had the year last year to build that chemistry up, but it's going to be, it's going to be very hard to find the defense that's going to stop it. But the problem is getting it to them. That'll be the hard part.
Because we have some younger guys in some very pivotal roles. We have some newer guys who are playing in the back. And so it's a process of how do we build that? Where do we make those right runs? Where do we time our passes? You know, how do we find the pockets of space? The good thing is a lot of those guys are having some experience. You brought up middle school. You know, we're going to probably play a freshman in one of our central midfield roles who hasn't played now 3 years in middle school for us, has played club ball, and so he's somebody who now has been in the program, quote unquote, for a while, and we're seeing some of the benefits of that for sure.
Yeah, and I think, you know, that's one of the exciting things about being part of the community here in Troop and seeing the growth of the sport. We talked about that earlier with Mark, and seeing that, you know, 20 years ago, middle school soccer, I don't even know if it existed.
I don't think it did.
And so now you're seeing both sides. Girls, you know, you see some prominent players come out, and then we see now on the boys' side you're mentioning, and so it's exciting to see that. And you know, because yeah, maybe this area is a step behind some of the counties closer to Atlanta, but you know, that's now, you know, that forever will be changed, and it's only looking up from here, and you're not going back to those days. So it's fun to see. Now, talk to us a little bit about the goalkeeper.
Hunter, why don't you start off on that one?
Yeah, Braden, you know, he was a first-year starter last year, and as a sophomore, and he, you know, he wasn't our strength on the field, and he'd tell you that. You know, he made a lot of dumb mistakes. I hate to put him down like that, but he really did. But he told me after, I think it was Drew Charter, the last game, he told me that he was going to step up and he was going to, you know, make himself fit, and he was going to make himself better, and he hasn't disappointed. He has been in the gym too much. So he needs to step back a little bit, but you know, I love his aggression towards the sport. You can't really see much of a difference if you're looking at him, if you've seen his change, but if you look at him as a sophomore, if you just look at a picture of him, and then you look at him now, it's like two completely different things.
He's probably lost 40 to 50 pounds, put on a lot of muscle. His quickness, his agility, his reactions are so much faster. He played a year of club ball for the first time ever, and those reps and that experience were invaluable to him. He's a vocal leader now from the back, directing his backs, talking about things. He can play the ball with his feet. So yeah, he's taken a humongous step forward and is going to be a strength rather than a weakness for us.
Yeah, and I think that's a testament to him as a player to come to that moment in his life to say, you know, because it's either you cut your losses and quit and, you know, go do something else because you don't want to do it anymore, or you have to decide, like, I'm going to be better. You know, that inner fire, that competitiveness that says, I cost us games, and that's not going to happen again, you know. And so for him to have that, you know, that come to Jesus moment and say, I'm gonna get better, I'm gonna commit to being fit, and then having the work ethic to see that through. And, you know, maybe in future, you know, weeks, we can talk to John Will a little bit about, you know, what kind of impact he's had,
Right.
you know, on him, because I watched a little bit of it, you know, during the preseason and saw the work going in, and I'm hopeful, just as a former keeper, to see,
Right.
has he grown, you know, and is he doing better? Because, you know, you would see, like you said, some of the mistakes that were like, wow, you know, if he just could have done this here, you know, we would have been in a better spot. Well, hopefully now, you know, it will show itself, this hard work that he's done, on the field, you know, and in the results that hopefully you get. And I'm excited for it. I'm excited to see how he does. I'm excited to see how he leads out of the back with this group that is going to rely on him now.
Yes,
You know,
very much.
he has spent a year or more relying on everybody in front of him, right? And now the tables have turned, and I think he probably came to that realization that he has to step it up.
Yeah,
you
and,
know,
I'm so proud of him doing it on his own. It wasn't like we went to him and said, hey, we got to have this.
Right.
He made that commitment to himself. He made that commitment to the program. He made that commitment to the team, and I couldn't commend him more for it.
Yeah, it's a cool story, and you cheer for those players.
Absolutely.
You know, that because you know how much they put into it.
Yeah.
So I'm eager to see how he performs this year. So anyone else that we need to kind of focus on? You mentioned JJ, you mentioned Ricky and Ethan and some of the other players here. Is there anyone else that you're like, you looked at during maybe the preseason and said, this guy has, other than Braden, of course, that has come in and really surprised you in a good way?
All right, I got one. You got one?
Yeah,
Go ahead, you go
got
first.
The same one. Angel.
Okay.
Is that yours?
No, that's not
Okay, good.
All right,
We're gonna talk about both.
Okay,
All right, good.
so Angel, he was a back for us last year. He was an outside back. He was shy. He was scared. We kind of
both understatements, I think.
Okay, all right.
So it was. I hate to say this about our players, but we put them in the game. We're like, all right, when can we get the next guy back in? But but anyway, he has come so far as a player. He didn't play club, but you really can't tell the difference. He is so much better as a player. He's going to be our center back this year, and he's not vocal, and that's something he definitely needs to fix. Him and his sister. I didn't know what they sounded like until this year because I didn't know they could talk. But he's not a very vocal person. He's very quiet, but he's just like the silent assassin in the back, So, but I'm interested to see how he's going to come. So, who would you got?
My guy is Christian.
Okay.
So Christian Cook played for us as a freshman, did not play as a sophomore, and has come back to us this year.
Okay.
And, early on as a freshman, you saw this kid has some things. And you just wish he would have stuck with it. And, I thought we lost him. He just said, just wanted to step away. Hey, okay, fine. His sister is a freshman on the girls' team. She played all throughout middle school. So he's come on, and it was like just this talented, confident, hardworking guy just showed up out of the blue and said, hey, I'm here at Callaway now, let's go. And I'm just like, thank you. When he looks at you, he is hanging on every word. He wants to learn so much. He wants to do it so right. And he doesn't beat himself up. He knows how to let it keep going and play. And we're sticking him slam in the middle of the field, and he's part of our midfield group. And I got tons of confidence and tons of belief in him. And he has just shown me that from all the way back in the summer, where he just decided, hey, I'm here, I'm going to play now. And we're like, let's go. And he's just gotten better and better and better every day. So I'm really excited to see the progress that he makes and the difference he's going to make. Angel's a good one.
Yeah.
But Chris is going to do a lot for
Another
us.
thing, talk about Chris. When he did come to that first summer practice, we didn't even recognize him. It was because he as a freshman he had long hair, his hair was covering his eyes, and then he come back, his hair he's super short, and I asked him, who's this guy? And he's like, that's Christian. I said, Christian who? He said, Cook. I said, who's that? You know, I had to think for a second. Like he played for us last year. It's like, oh yeah, that guy. So it was definitely exciting to see him come back for us.
Really cool. And, you know, you can catch all these guys this coming Thursday here at Callaway. Kickoff 5:30.
5:30. It's an early start for the
yep,
boys.
And so this is Troop High. This is Callaway. This is the only time they're playing this year.
That's right.
So you want to see one of these rivalry games. This is your chance. Weather should be cooperative from what we can tell. And so, you know, get here, you know, plan on staying a while, plan on visiting the concession stand. You know, we hope for the, not just a good turnout, but for a good game and, you know, for a nice preseason get ready type of raising the curtain on the season. So, coaches, anything else before we sign off?
Well, just want to thank you once again for being the host of our coaches show. I think this is year 3 that we're doing it now, and you know, you just make this so good. You make it flow. You make everything happen. So we appreciate all your support from a soccer perspective, as a coach, coming out and training with our kids, but just being here with us. We appreciate being able to do this with you.
Oh, it's my pleasure. And again, look forward to a great season. And, you know, can't wait to get this thing started. I think you guys are in agreement that this is it's a new day, and you know that the opportunities are here for them to do something good.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, thanks, coaches.
Thank you.
All right, hey, welcome back to the Callaway Coaches Show. Now we are joined by Coach Jeff McGuffin along with Coach Petit to talk about the girls varsity team and the upcoming 2024 season, which actually gets kicked off this week against Troop High in a friendly scrimmage Thursday night at 7:30. Coaches, how are we doing?
Doing well. How are you, Coach?
Good.
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, I'm anxious to see how this group works.
So are we.
You know, I had the opportunity of seeing them during the preseason, and was very pleased to see how some of the work rate between the midfield and forward, and the potential for some really good things to happen. You know, I think in years past, and you can, you know, obviously, you know, debate this, but a lot of times, you know, you had one player that was singled out as like, all right, if they stop this player, then we're going to stop Callaway, right? And now it's like, wait a minute, you've got multiple attacks coming at you, and they're not just coming from the forward line. They could be coming from midfield. And so I think that potential, you know, to see this team do some things this year, I think we're all in, you know, high anticipation to see what they can do. So tell me what you're looking for, you know, out of this group from the get-go.
Well, I think, like you hit on early on, is that front group of our front 3 attackers and our 3 midfielders are going to be very strong. I think they're going to be very good together as a group, especially as we start to put them together. You know, oftentimes you have to split them up offensively and defensively, and these guys go with these guys and that kind of stuff. But we're starting to build that now. That's the next couple of games, next couple of practices. Today, I think you saw it when they were as a unit together. They were aggressive, they were cohesive, they were sharing the ball, they were making things happen. And, you know, that goes along with the level of experience that we have up there. It goes along with them knowing what we want them to do as a coaching staff, our game model, and how we want to attack and get after people and stuff. So I'm looking forward to seeing how well we can do. We scored a lot of goals last year. I think it was 89 was our goal total last year. You know, we'll see what we can do this year.
I mean, truthfully, as you feel about the front 3 on the boys team, I don't think you will find a better group of 3 midfielders. We won't play one. I mean, as far as what they're capable of doing, what they, you know, their, I don't know, I guess their leadership, and then this all the way down to the skill. That group there may be a better individual player, you're not gonna find a better three. I think that's
Well,
gonna be huge.
they've got the athleticism,
Yeah.
you know, they've got the skill, and now they've got, you know, a little bit of experience now. And I feel like the three of them will probably grow together, you know, as a group, you know, and hopefully, you know, they can kind of see some of these games out, you know, and take care of them, because I think the reliance on the forwards and the midfield this year is gonna be a lot more pronounced due to the fact that over the last few years, you lost a lot of players in the back and in goal. And so now it's like, all right, whereas before you could rely on Maya and some of these other players that were able to take care of some stuff. Now it's like, okay, in time, yes, they're gonna get better in the back. But here early, you may have some scores that are gonna be like, how they let that team score 2 goals? Or how that, you know, they still won the game, but you're like, and it's just gonna be like, what, you know, growing pains, you know?
Right.
So, I'm looking forward to it. So, Coach Jeff, tell us a little bit about, the front three and what you see out of them. I know we talked a little bit about the midfield, but that front three and potentially what you see coming out of them.
Well, I mean, when you look at our front three, first of all, you got 2 really experienced players in Autumn Brown and Eileen Uloa, and then we got Isla on that right. That's the sky's the limit for her. When she gets it, she's gonna take. I mean, when she gets it, it's gonna take this program to another level, because she has the ability to really do something special. But you have Autumn now moving into that striker role from where she's usually playing the right forward, or you know, and what she's averaged probably 20 goals and 20 assists.
Yeah,
you know,
past 2 years.
You know, we lost Kate in the center, and Kate's one of the best players that's ever laced them up here. I think Autumn will step into that role and fill those shoes well. Her soccer knowledge has grown tremendously. She's played, you know, club the last several years now, gained more and more confidence, more and more strength on the ball. Eileen, we call her Miss Goal Scorer 3000, because she just makes the right run every single time. If you play the ball across back post, Eileen's walking it into goal. I mean, she makes the perfect run every single time. That front group has the ability to be really, really special.
And what I like with that group is they also know they've learned how to work with that midfield, especially Mary Kate as that attacking midfield role. She has such a good relationship with all of them, and I think understands what each of them do and do well, and she's able to really kind of facilitate to their strengths. And so that group, plus that combination of Mary Kate, Cadence, and then our newcomer in Sophia, is really gonna be, you know, a good combination of group of players.
Yeah, I think that was a light bulb went off in my head as a college coach when you come to, you know, a preseason and you're working with players and you see somebody like you've never seen before, and you're like, okay, where did you come from? Because I had to ask her, did you transfer? Did you?
Talk about Sophia?
Yeah, and then she told me, I'm like, okay, this makes sense, you know, because you could see automatically there's a presence that she's got, there's a confidence that she has. You know, it's not a matter of like how. You know, do you think she'll fit in? No, that's not gonna be a question. She's gonna fit in. You know, it's a matter of, you know, what the players around her are capable of doing now. You know, like, I think that, you know, she's got a ton of potential. And I think that if she has any type of good seasons coming up, like, there's a lot of places that are gonna need that type of player.
Yeah.
You know, and I felt some similar things last year, even though I didn't work with the players in the preseason. I got to come to games, of course, because we're looking at players, and like I didn't know who Issa was until I'm like, she subbed in, and I'm like, she had a presence, you know, like her first touch on the ball, her ability to find feet and turn and get out and then go, and I'm like, I don't remember her either, you know, and so I had to try to find out, like, okay, and I contacted Coach Jeff, and I'm like, okay, who is this player, you know, and so it's good to see, you know, new players come on and be able to contribute right away.
For sure, especially because the group we have, we're sitting with 10 senior girls right now.
Right.
And, and so to have some of those younger ones able to contribute right now only is gonna help because we got a lot to replace. Now that's next year, we'll worry about that down the road.
Sure.
Because we're gonna enjoy the group that we got because it's a great group to be with.
Yeah. But we got, 12 ones away from, was it 12, I said?
From being the
From being
all-time
the
winningest group.
winningest group of, that's ever
Four
played.
year
Okay,
players.
four-year record. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I always go back and look at that too as a college coach, and especially someone or a group of seniors is about to approach something special and say, hey, if you guys can just get 10 this year, you'll have it, or whatever. So now tell us about the back line, because that is going to be a work in progress as we go, and I want to know, where are we in comparison to where we were during preseason?
So again, we're making a switch like we do with the boys and playing a back four, a large degree because we lose somebody like Maya, who is just uber talented, uber athletic, covered up for a lot of mistakes, speed, aggression, knowledge that she probably didn't know she knew, that kind of stuff. And then we also had a pretty strong goalkeeper from back there in Rain for 2 years. So when you lose those two of those caliber players, we got to replace them. So we're going to do a little bit with numbers. Our goalkeepers are going to be really young, whether it's going to be a freshman, Katie Beth, or it's going to be Elena, who's a sophomore, stepping in, and they'll both see plenty of time. The group that's back there, again, are going to be older. They're going to be seniors. We got some young ones who are learning their roles and stuff, but we're going to count on that group of seniors. Right now, it's looking like Rosa, Dejani, Kaylee Flores, and Scotty as a group of backs who, as long as they can just keep control of the ball, keep playing in front of them, let that group in front of them do the bulk of the work. I think we're going to be okay, and until we develop a little more. They know what they want to do. They're just a little behind, say, the group in front of them as far as their skill level and their experience level, because they might not have played as much.
Right. And so, what we can probably hope for is that group of three up front, followed by that group behind them, putting so much pressure on the opponent that your back four can not have as much pressure as they would if you were in a 4-4-2
Correct.
or in a 3-5-2 even.
Yep.
We don't need that right now.
No,
right?
definitely do not need that.
So, but yeah, so it'll be interesting to see. What do we know about Troop?
Coach?
Troop's got some really, they got some really good players. They got a lot of athletic players. We played them in 7v7 in the summer, and a lot of their younger players were their most athletic players. Actually, I told Coach Petit, I love the way that they didn't shy away. They were outskilled by our girls in 7v7. But the one thing that I loved about them, and I even went and told them, was I love to watch you play because you did not shy away, you never quit, and you fought. And so I know they're not gonna quit, they're not gonna be afraid of us, and they're not gonna shy away. So, and they have a couple of really good players that can hurt you if you're not careful. I think Hazel, I don't know if she's gonna be a goal or what's the other keeper's name?
Haley.
Haley is really good in goal too, but Hazel being on the field most likely will, we're gonna have to account for her because she's very skilled with her feet. So
We're just not gonna be able to show up and
No.
just they're gonna go away. They're gonna
Right.
battle us. They're gonna be ready for us.
it's a rivalry game.
Sure.
You never know.
There's pride on the line, too, and you don't want to just hand it over to your assistant.
Yeah.
You got to have to play.
For sure.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to it, and if you want to get out there and watch a good game, come on out to see the boys at 5:30, the girls at 7:30 on Thursday here at Callaway. I think what you'll have next, it seems like, is Chattahoochee
Chattahoochee County.
next week, and I know this is a team you played previously, but tell us a little bit about the girls program there and what you're looking forward to getting done that day.
you know, that team is getting better all the time. They have not historically been really, really good, but you've just seen over time them get better, them start to, you know, challenge for balls and be a little more physical and have an understanding of what they want to do with the ball a little bit more. And being, you know, right there next to Fort Moore, as it's called now, you
Yeah.
never know who they might get. So all of a sudden a couple kids move in and that can change the dynamic of that whole program. So we're not going into that one lightly by any, you know, any shape of the imagination there. We're going to prepare, and our goal is every game leading up to region, we got to get better, because it all, you know, region is what matters. We want to win the games ahead of time, but we just want to get better. And Chattahoochee County is going to give us a legitimate, you know, opportunity to work on certain things and be challenged by that.
Right, and you know, much like the boys' schedule, the girls' schedule is almost identical,
Right.
with a couple of exceptions, I think. So, new teams on the schedule to look forward to, but you know, I think this region's winnable, and I think if you can start off well and get some, you know, some confidence in the early going and shore up a couple of areas. I think it'll give them the confidence going forward to say, hey, this is here for us, let's take it, you know?
So we've harped on it with them all along is, hey, this is an opportunity that we haven't probably legitimately had. Is it gonna just be there for the taking? No, no way. We have to really work, we have to really know what we're trying to do, we really have to all buy in, but if they do, we probably have our best opportunity in a
Yeah,
long
I
time.
mean, going back to what you were talking about in the very beginning, we have a lot of experience on this team, and then you add in these younger players. I mean, we have some younger ones that we haven't talked about that could step in and help us, in like Lily Cook and McKinley Milner,
Norman Trinidad.
Norma Trinidad. Yeah, I mean, we had some really skilled players coming off the bench. You know, so I guess me and him have talked about it numerous times. We've had maybe some better individually skilled player along the way. This might be the best team that we've had. I mean, I've been looking forward to the possibilities of what this team could be all year because of the experience, and I know what we had coming to go with the experience.
Right.
So I'm looking forward to see how it all comes together.
Yeah, and I think that one thing that you mentioned just now is the fact that you may have some players coming off the bench that in years previous, they were there to kind of give the starters a rest and to, like, okay, but you know full and well that in 5-7 minutes, you gotta get those starters back in. Now you're in a situation where you may have 2 or 3 coming off the bench that could actually give you a lift.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, that's going to push some of the starters.
Yeah,
I mean, they're going to
absolutely.
push them.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, they might be seniors out there, but they're gonna be looking over their shoulder because
Right.
they know they got guys who are ready to go.
Yeah.
So it's you know, it's fun to kind of speculate, and it's fun to kind of get this, you know, to think about what the possibilities are. Of course, every week's gonna be different, but you know, we're hoping for the best, and you know, we hope that you'll be able to come out there and come to a few games and, you know, follow the Cavaliers in person. If not, you'll be able to follow them on social media. And of course, every week you're going to be able to join us here on the Cavalier Coaches Show and kind of look at a recap and look ahead of what that particular week may have in store. So coaches, thank you again. We look forward to the start of the season.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank
Appreciate
you,
it.
Coach. Appreciate it.
All right.